This video is to help flute players with their end-of-year audition requirements. Recording number 1, just to recap, is a major scale and a chromatic scale. That's your concert C major scale and a chromatic scale starting on your C. Recording number 2 is your prepared piece, all measures of the prepared piece, and the goal tempo is hopefully 120 beats per minute. Make sure you pay attention to key accidentals, unusual rhythms, articulations, dynamic style, etc. Some of those items can be found on page 48 of your book. Otherwise, you just need to go back to book 1 and study it. Some things are in book 2, but most of what I have shared will be found in book 1. A few notes over here on the side to the right. Remember, this is only for 6th and 7th grade. The scales can be sent separately in different recordings. For example, if I assign these in SmartMusic, you'll have to send them separately as 2 different recordings. If you're sending it by Essential Elements or by phone to my email, those can be sent as 1 recording or 2. If you're a very confident player and you can play them back to back, by all means do so. But if you need to try a few times of the major scale, try a few times of the chromatic scale and send me each of them, that's fine. All right, number 4, scales are now going to be due by May 10th. That way you have these videos, you have a little bit more time, you can have a good audition. And point number 5, the prepared piece is now going to be due by May 24th. So now let's move on to your practice session. Okay, flutes, let's get into this practice session. There's menus I want you to click through if you haven't already. So tracks, that's where we're sitting right now. That's all your playing functions. My takes, after you've recorded something, they're going to show up here. You can delete them or you can save them. That's how you get them to me. Assessment, you can possibly toggle that on and off, and then you won't see the green, yellow, and red while you're playing. Loop is a good setting to help you practice the whole thing over and over again, or you could just set 2 measures. If you're just struggling with one portion, have it loop again and again, and you can use the 4-click count off in between to set you up to do it again. So those are some pretty cool settings there. Display, some things that you can choose how you want to look at things. I kind of like having the beat, but there's other ways. Flow will go smoothly. Note is going to hit every note in rhythm. Now, when you record for me, some of the settings, it's how I have it set up. But when you're practicing in here, you can play around with the settings. And if I go back to track, then we're ready to go. This does not have an accompaniment. We can have the part turned all the way up for right now. The metronome, sometimes I turn it down a little bit because it clicks real loud. I'm going to set the tempo on your scales down to 80 to start, and we're going to work our way up to 100. You've got a tuner right here. Oh, look, it tried to tune me. So use that every time you practice. You got a built-in one to SmartMusic. Movements and instruments, that'll toggle that to disappear. The count off, you can change the beats of the count off. I actually just leave it on 4. That gives me enough time to hit play and get the horn to my face before I start. So that pretty much covers those menus up above. Right here is play. This is to check your mic settings. This is to record a take to hopefully send to me. After you've done that, you can play one back and then you can hear yourself playing with the recording. So that's pretty cool that you can see and hear the feedback. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to bump it up to 90. Now, you may have to practice a little more at home on your own before you jump in with the recordings, and that's fine, but this will give you something to work towards. All right, so here's 90 beats per minute. Make sure you tongue up and slur down on your notes as we've practiced in class. This does not have any slur markings on it. All right, here's 100 beats per minute, and this is a good tempo for middle school band, I think, for an audition. Okay, I find that anything much faster than that starts to get sloppy, and what I want is good quality. You want to earn all your points. It's not a race, as we say. All right, if you're working on 2 octaves, here's a 2-octave major scale, so let's try that one. Now, I encourage all of you to be working on 2 octaves, but you may not all be ready to perform this audition this year with a 2-octave scale. And that's okay. You're playing at least 1 full octave, maybe 2 octaves. Here's 90 beats per minute. All right, and then last time through, 100 beats per minute. Okay, so those are your major scale options, a 1-octave or a 2-octave scale. Let's move on to chromatic. So here's a 1-octave scale up and down, and I'm going to set it, like I said, back at 80 beats per minute, a little slower. Tongue up, slur down. Okay, 90 beats per minute, a little bit faster. All right, and 100. Now 100 may be pushing it for a lot of you young members on this chromatic scale, but again, I'm showing you where you need to go. Where am I now? Where do I need to go? Above all, it needs to be clean, but if you can play it at 100, kudos to you, because we want to, at the all county level, the all state level, those kind of auditions, you need to be able to play it like this. All right, so here's 100 beats per minute in 1/8 notes. Now, one thing you could do is you could potentially slow down this YouTube video and it still sound like your C scale. That is an option. I've done that before. I've slowed down a Julie DeRue piece and played it in class or at class change with you guys, because I couldn't quite play it fast enough. So I knocked it down to like 75% speed and was able to keep up. So that's something else you could do. If you can't quite play it up to 80 yet, you could slow down this YouTube video. My voice would be a little slower. All right, those of you more advanced players, here's the 2-octave chromatic scale. And remember, in all scales that we tongue up, ta, 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 and ta, ah, 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 ah. Get the tongue out of the way as you slur on the way back down. All right, here's 90. And one more time. Band director's famous last words. Just one more time. 100 beats per minute. All right, there you have it. Major scale, chromatic scale. All right, let's move on to the end of your piece. Now I'm just going to give it in 2 different tempos, a slower and a faster for time's sake. So I'm going to set it to 110 and let it play through, and then set it to 120, the marked tempo, and let it play through. So here's 110 beats per minute. All right, and then once at the faster tempo. All right, there you have it. That is your end of year audition requirements in the order that they're listed on your paper, all the correct notes for you, different tempos. So I hope this video helps you, flutes. Bye.